God gonna bless me. He's gonna do exceedingly abundantly above all I can think, ask, imagine. Eyes haven't seen, nor have ears heard. We like to say those things, but are we willing to go through the process? No. Hey y'all, what's up? I am Jade Williams, reconciliation strategist, CEO, university founder. I'm a mom, I am a creator, I'm a podcast host, I am all of the things. Listen, I'm super excited to be back today with another banging video. Listen, make sure y'all hit that notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you also share this out with your friends because this is going to be a blessing to you today, okay? This one right here is one of them ones, right? So super excited. The topic for today is the bigger the blessing. Ooh, child. So we all been talking about how life has been lifing, right? Life has been lifing. The people been peopling. The churn been churning. The things have been thinking, right? But let me tell you, the bigger the blessing. I just want to bring it all home for you today because a lot has been going on in my life too, right? A lot has been going on in all of our lives. But I want you to know that the bigger the blessing, the harder the pressing, okay? The bigger the blessing, the harder the pressing. When God wants to do a new thing in you, it's going to be hard. When God wants to do something greater in you, hell got notice just as you did. And so anytime you're about to go higher, right? Anytime God is about to elevate you, anytime God is about to bless you, there is going to be warfare. Life gonna start lifing. The people gonna start peopling. The churn gonna start churning. The family gonna start familying. These things are going to start happening, right? But what you have to begin to do, where I want to encourage you in this, is that when these things begin to happen, you have to be steadfast and immovable, right? You have to search God's promises. Remember his promises. Stick to his word. Let God's word be the truth and every man a liar. Stick to his word. What are the truths? Because again, the bigger the blessing, the harder the pressing. How do we press? We press by praising. We press by worshiping. We press by showing up when we don't feel like showing up. We press by continuing to do, continuing to sow, even when we don't have it, right? When we don't feel like it, when we don't want to. You press by continuing to do the thing. Because though hell is angry, God is still testing you, right? So the bigger the blessing, the bigger the pressing, the bigger the testing, okay? Are y'all following me? The bigger the blessing, the bigger the pressing, the bigger the testing. Blessing, pressing, testing. Remember those things. God is testing you. It's like he's asking you, how bad do you want it, right? He didn't say it would be easy, but he said it would be worth it, right? Remember, nothing that you're going through is happening to you, right? It's happening in you and through you. It has to happen inside of you. God doesn't do things on the outside. He works on the inside, right? And when he works on the inside, you begin to speak on the outside. So it happens in you and through you. It's going to move through you, and you're going to impart that into someone else. And so the bigger the blessing, the bigger the blessing, the bigger the blessing, the harder the pressing. You're going to have to continue pressing forward. What are his promises, right? What are some of God's promises? I am fearfully and wonderfully made, right? Is that his promise, or is that not his promise? Is that what he said? I am who God says I am, right? I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. right? I am the lender and not the borrower. I am chosen. I am enough, right? I am fearless. I am confident. I am courageous. I am strong, right? He is a way maker. He is a miracle worker. He is a promise keeper, right? He is light in darkness, right? Stick to the promises. Stick to the truths. Remember that it's not about you. I know it doesn't feel good. I know it don't feel good, right? Because I'm in a season where I'm going through these same things. And as I sit here and begin to encourage you, I am encouraging myself, right? I can feel myself begin to get happy. I can feel my spirit begin to leap because I can stand on God's promises, right? So begin to search his promises. Begin to search his truths. Because the bigger the blessing, the harder the pressing, right? But remember that God is still testing you. If you give up because it gets hard, then what? What will you achieve? You'll just sit there in it and it will continue to be hard. If you stop in the middle, you'll never make it to the promise. The process is a part of the promise. In order to get to the promise, you have to go through the process. See, many of us don't like the process, right? We don't like the process. We don't like having to give up things. We don't like having to mend relationships. We don't like having to let people go. We don't like having to go back to something that we thought we were over and done with. And God says, no, I need you to go back. And you're like, wait, what? No, I need you to go back. Wait, what? Bring me back what I gave you. Well, why I gotta do that? Because it's mine. No, it's not yours. It is something that I gave you, right? For a purpose. So bring me back what I gave you. But God, no, I don't want to give it back. Well, then what are we doing? I will not give you another thing until you bring me back what I gave you, right? And so we have to focus on the truths behind it, right? We ask God for these things, but what are we willing to give up? Are we willing to go through the process in order to get to the promise? The promise is the thing that we've asked for, right? The promise is the thing that he's shown us. The promise is within his word. Abundance is a promise. And so in order to achieve abundance, we have to go through the process in order to get there. Because one, he wants to know that you're going to be a great steward over it when I give it to you. So are you faithful over a few things? Right? How are you with the little? Are you still showing up for the one customer? Are you still showing up for the two people? Are you still showing up even when nobody shows up? What? Because if you stop every time, you're not getting anywhere. So the bigger the blessing, the harder the pressing. You're going to have to continue pressing forward. You're going to have to continue to keep doing. You're going to have to continue to keep going. It's not going to feel good. The pruning doesn't feel good. But in the end, when you make it to the promise, when you can see the promise, right? When you're able to begin to receive that abundance, then you will begin to see that, wow, God, the bigger the blessing, me pressing through, right? Me pressing through, I'm passing the test, me pressing through, me showing up even when it does not feel good. Y'all, some things have happened where I was like, look, I really don't want to do this anymore, right? I can cancel my whole schedule. I can clear everything out right now and I will be okay. But what about the people that I'm called to? What about the people that are called to me, right? If I stop here, they won't find me. If I stop here, I won't find them. I will not be in position. I will not be in alignment. So we get out of line too many times. We get out of line. The bigger the blessing, oh, God gonna bless me. He's gonna do exceedingly abundantly above all I can think, ask, imagine. Eyes haven't seen, nor have ears heard. We like to say those things, but are we willing to go through the process? No. Are we willing to go through the process? The bigger the blessing, you better believe hell got notice that she's going to get this big blessing. You know, our pastor told me recently that just as we fight in the physical, the angels are fighting in the spirit. Some blessings are held up because the angels are trying to get it down here to you. We don't battle with flesh and blood, but we take things personal and put it and take it against people. The Bible tells us that our battles are not with flesh and blood. It's against spirits and principalities. And so when we know these things, we have to walk boldly in that, right? When things happen, we have to continue pressing. We have to put on the whole armor of God, right? We have to continue praising. We have to continue praying. We have to continue believing and continue thanking God in advance for the things that he's already going to do. The bigger the blessing, because God, we want it bigger. We want much bigger. God, you said when you close one door, another one will be opened. And I know it's got to be greater than where I came from. And so the bigger the blessing. But are you willing to go through the process, right? And so I challenge you to begin to see God's truth, to begin to speak his truths over your life, to begin to know that for every yes, every blessing that God is going to send, hell got notice. Spiritual warfare is real. My pastor used to tell us, like, all right, y'all, I want y'all to be aware that this is coming. It's going to come because you're connected with something that's good. Understand, realize when you are connected with the good, the bad is going to come, because the enemy knows that if I can throw you off track, if I can get you to doubt, if I can get you to not believe, right, then you'll turn away. You'll go back the other way. And then nobody will be saved. No souls will be set free. And that is what he wants to keep us in captivity, right? That is his job. Okay? And so if I can give you something to go and study. If you've not studied the book of Job, I want you to go read about Job. Job was a good and faithful servant. But what you have to understand is that the enemy wasn't allowed to touch Job without God's permission. So there's a lesson in that. The enemy can't do anything without God's permission. He can't touch you without God's permission. He can't test you without God's permission. God allowed the enemy. The enemy said, I've been searching. I've been walking all over the earth, searching high and low. God suggested Job. Job was a suggestion. Have you tried my servant Job? The enemy said, listen, what I'm going to try him for? I try him. He ain't going to do nothing but be like, all right, God, I'm sick of it. I'm through with it. I ain't messing with you no more. I ain't fooling with you no more. The enemy said, if I take all of his possessions are taken from him, his faith gonna waver, basically. He gonna falter. He gonna grow weary in well-doing. The bigger the blessing, the harder the pressing. If I mess with Job, he's not gonna press any harder, but Job still began to press. I want you guys to go study the book of Job, and it will begin to show you and help you add context to your life. The enemy cannot do anything without God's permission. Number one, he cannot do anything without God's permission, right? God gives him permission. God told him, said, do whatever you want. Take whatever you want, but do not hurt him. Do not kill him. What does that tell me? When I'm faced with certain things and they don't touch me physically, it is God giving permission. You may try my faithful servant, but do not harm him or her. The bigger the blessing, the harder the pressing, and God is still testing you. Remember that, okay? And so again, we are praying for big things. We are wanting big things. We are hoping for big things to happen. Remember, the bigger the blessing. With every door that closes, another one opens. That is very true. God is not going to close one door without opening another. But you will not see the opening of the new door if you don't press forward, if you don't press through, if you give up in the beginning. If God would have told us what the process was going to be like in order to get to the promise, many of us would have turned back, right? Many of us would have not even gotten started. So do I show you the end and allow you to go through the process, Or do I tell you the process? Do I tell you that you may have to lose somebody? Do I tell you that you have to give something up? Do I tell you that you may lose everything, all of your worldly possessions? Do I tell you all of these things? And then I allow you, are you still going to walk? No. The reality is that most of us are going to be like, yeah, nah. What does it say? Get somebody else. Get somebody else to do it. That is the reality. If God showed it to you, you would say, get somebody else to do it. Right? Because that's what you do when you go through the process. God, this don't feel good. This ain't nothing but the devil. It's not the devil. It is not the devil all the time. You give him credit for something that he ain't even doing. Right? The bigger the blessing, the harder the pressing. God is still testing you in the midst of all of this. And so look, that's what I got for y'all. The bigger the blessing, remember, the bigger the blessing, the harder you must press because God is testing you. And if you give up now, if you turn back now, the promise, you're going to have to start this thing all over again. You have to get back in line all over again, right? If you turn around now, you run from it now, then you're going to have to go back again. You got to do this thing again. You got to start all over again and again and again. And when are you going to get there? Right? When are the people that you're called to going to be set free? When are the people that are called to you going to be able to do what they're going to be able to fulfill their assignment? Because just as there are people called to you, you're called to someone as well. And they have an assignment that they have to fulfill. But if you're not in the place where God told them you would be, then you're going to miss out. And so don't turn back. Keep pressing. No matter how hard it hurts, no matter how bad it feels, no matter how much you got to cry, press. Every time you cry, press. Every time you cry, take a step. Every time you want to turn around, go forward. Every time you look back, don't. Every time you think about looking back, don't. And then you'll begin to see, I'm so much closer. That light that I saw, I'm closer to the light. I'm closer to the light. Oh man, we just accelerated. We just jumped over what I thought was going to be a hurdle. I'm closer to the light. I'm closer to the light. And then you will see, oh my God, this is the promise. You will have gone so far, you won't even realize that you're there. You'll have to take a minute and say, wait, oh my God. You'll be like me. You'll have papers and you'll be going through pages. Oh my God, I have arrived at the promise. This is God's promise. This is what he promised me. This is what he told me. This is what he showed me. This is what was prophesied. This is what was spoken. This is what was written, right? And so I love y'all. Make sure you go and follow Wounded to Wealthy on Instagram at Wounded to Wealthy. Again, I'm Jade Williams. I'm a reconciliation strategist. I'm coming to you today as a reconciliation strategist. I'm also a university founder. I'm a mom. I'm a CEO. I'm all of the things. But right now, I'm here to help kingdom leaders identify the root to their roadblocks, interpret the detours, and navigate their way to freedom. Some of those roadblocks look like procrastination. Some of those roadblocks may look like overachieving, overthinking. I want to help you get to the root of that. I want to help you understand those detours, because just as I spoke today, the bigger the blessing, the harder the pressing. You have to still continue to go through things. You have to continue to still leap across things, across hurdles, things that you thought were hurdles. The detours, the sign that said this road is closed. Some detours are for your destiny. Some detours are actually to delay you. But I want to help you interpret those detours and navigate your way to freedom. And so I love y'all. I mean, I do. I appreciate you. If this video has helped you, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. I love y'all so much, y'all. Remember, the bigger the blessing, the harder you're going to have to press, because God is testing you. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.